Based on what I read and what my over the years researching and regards to the understanding of anxiety. Anxiety comes in many forms. There's not one particular anxiety at all. My understanding of anxiety, I was born with anxiety. My form of anxiety is think out loud, cannot hold information, overexcited, hypertension. Anything that is new knowledge, a new experience, I cannot control myself. I have to say it out, share with somebody, talk it out, and that's my anxiety. I did not know I have anxiety until based on my readings and research, I understand that's a type of anxiety that I have. So after I understand my type of anxiety, it's ends. I was able to end it when my anxiety appear. I recognize it, then I end it. In the last, I would say, 10 years, I was able to end my anxiety because I recognize it. That's the type of anxiety I have. I was born with. And I look at my family members, start from my grandparents, my parents, my siblings, they all have similar that type of anxieties, and it's genetic. Now that is just talking one type of anxiety, which what I have. Now, how I discover to able to balance and end my anxiety was the research through Master Krishnamurti. He talks about different types of anxiety, and that's how it caught my attention. And he explains anxiety come in different forms, and he specifically say it comes in different forms. So anxiety, for what I understood, was I was born with it, but actually it's a entity, it's it. Master Krishnamurti mentioned it. It comes in many different forms. So that based on that understanding, I said, oh, anxiety comes in different forms. It's an entity. It's not part of me. It's not something I was born with. It's something that I was, it grows over me from my environmental factor, my upbringing, my conditioning in my family. That explains why my family members have similar anxiety type, because we are raised similar. So it does. I was not born with that. That was the understanding. So when I understood that findings, that's when I separate myself from anxiety. When my anxiety occurred, at first it was a big entity because it grew over the years. I had it since little. When I separated, I faced head on with my anxiety. It was a big anxiety, big entity. It was not small. It took a lot of practice. I have to remind myself anxiety and me are two separate entities. In order for me to see and look at what type of anxiety I have is when I separate it. For years, I thought anxiety is something I was born with, is part of me. I never seen it in front of me. I have to deal with it in me. So the great findings that cures me of my anxiety is when I recognize it's an entity. So that's when I separate that anxiety when it starts to cause symptoms that I had coped with over the years, and I recognize it. And then I remind myself, anxiety and me are two separate entities. And it took me a good 1.5 years to practice that. Every time it comes in different time of the day. You don't know when it comes. It comes when you're excited about some discoveries. It comes when you're depressed or you're overworked, you're exhausted. It comes. So anxiety, it transforms to many different forms. And over the years, you learn how to cope with it. But with the new discoveries, when I separate it, when it appeared, I was able to see it in front of me. And at first, it was pretty big. My heart, when I faced it, my heart was pound very quickly because it's a big entity. It was a large anxiety entity that I had to face with. My heart pound really fast. My body react, chitter, shiver, kind of little, it overwhelmed me a bit. But over the weeks, the month, and the years, it got smaller until the point where it got so small, it doesn't bother me anymore. It become a speck. Yeah, when it starts to come around, I just say anxiety and me are two separate entities. And nowadays, I just tell it to go away, or I just spit at it, or just thumb on it. It's like a little speck. That's how I dealt with my anxiety. That's my own personal experience. I don't know anyone else have maybe different theories, different method, but that works for me. And I have a pretty bad anxiety. It caused me fluctuation in emotion. I became at a point very depressed. It caused me overexcited. I get high blood pressure. I was overwhelmed, and my hypertension was so overwhelmed that I chased a lot of people away. It became annoying to people because it's something that I couldn't control. I was sharing every information, everything that excited me. It doesn't mean excited the other party around you, but you were just you can't control it, and that's my type of anxiety. But nowadays, it doesn't bother me. As I mentioned, it's a little speck right now. When it's appear, I throw it on the floor and I stomp on it, and it doesn't come around. And if I eat seeds, I spit on it. And it's not a concern right now. But anxiety is an entity that is going to be with you for life. It's an entity that I understand that is it's something that it builds on your conditioning, your environment factor, and it knows how to press your point, know how to activate you, know how to cause you depressed, cause you trouble, cause you emotion, cause you your mind to go crazy. But mine was not that severe. I was able to. I was fortunate to learn the method to deal with it at early enough age that it's not no concern for me. I hope that helps, and just let me know any question.
Okay, so my anxiety is, I feel stuff going around my body, symptom, hot hand, hot arms, and my chest, and burning sensation and stuff. And worry, worry something's wrong.
That's a type of anxiety I recognize. When I remember, Master Krishnamurti he spent over 50 years of his life as a scholar, the discover all this himself. He has made many speeches with scholars. He written many books. Now, that's why he discovered there's many types of anxiety. There are thousands of types of anxiety. Anxiety comes from individual background. Comes from anxiety that affect someone in Asia. It's different anxiety that affects someone in America. So it's a different type of anxiety. So the question you have, you're explaining your anxiety. Is it causes you physically, it causes you to worry. That is anxiety. It does that. Because if you look back, when you were younger, growing up, if you're isolated a lot, you will worry. You always thinking, worry, what's pretty much a lot of your surrounding. So the worries is started when you're younger. It's not called worries. It's called aware. You're trying to discover what your surrounding is. Over time, as you grow older, it become worries because it become a conditioning, and anxiety feeding off that. It feeds off that. So as you and your environment, you become worried. You always second guess yourself. You're always thinking this right or not, and should I become very skeptical? Anxiety does that to you, and the more you fall under that there's a balance, and when you're not, anxiety doesn't attack you, you're very balanced. Your minds are clear, you're thinking everything clear. But when you get attacked by anxiety, your balance is off. Either your weight is heavier on one side, like yin and yang. So mostly yin is a dark. That's why anxiety feed off on the yin, on the dark. And when that happens, you gotta trace back to your roots, and look at it, face those anxiety. And once you faced it, and in order to face it, you gotta separate it. You cannot face anything that's in you. How can you face anything that's inside you? You gotta pull it out, separate it, recognize as an entity, and recognize where it's from. Usually it's from the roots, from where you, when you were younger, your child, you grow, it builds up on that. And you face it. You say, anxiety and me, two separate entity. You're an entity that came when I was 8, 9 years old, 6, 7 years old. Now I'm in my 40s. You're no longer exist. That's the past. You are what you're or what in my past. I'm living in the present. I'm 46 years old, and I'm living today, January 12, 2016, and I'm living fine. I'm doing well, and you are my past, and you're no longer relevant to me, like that. You're a separate entity. You're an entity that is in the past. Nothing to do with me today, and that's it. And that should usually, if you face them and size them like that, they shrink small. They become like you. They become when they came at 7, 8 years old. Yeah. Any other question?
I guess it's part of it is fear, fear, like what's gonna happen to me,
Yes.
Like what the heck is wrong with my body, fear about it.
That's anxiety. They feed off. The only way anxiety have a control of anybody physically is they apply fear. Fear is uncertainty. Okay. Fear is one of a type. Okay. Anger, fear, anxiety. They all linked. Okay. Anxiety is the boss of them all. So fear the sidekick, anger the other sidekick. So they throw fear at you, cause you to become unbalanced. So they feed off that. That's anxiety. That's anxiety. Fear. Okay, now we talk about fear. Fear is the most fear everyone has. Everyone, all human, all citizen, all animal, all living things, is fear of death.
Yeah.
That's the only a major fear. That's where fear feeding off. That's the only time fear exists. Is people fear of death. Why people work so hard, fight so hard, live so hard is because they don't want to die. They think by doing that they prolong their life. They won't die, right?
Yeah.
That's called uncertainty, and fear it will give you that uncertainty, and that uncertainty is what fear feeding off, and that's what affect everyone. And then that's when anxiety kicks in, and that's it. And if you recognize all that, all these are entity. You face it, then you end it. What can you do? A lot of time it use your past, something that your past is your experience, something that you experience during your life. That's called past. But past has nothing to do with presently. It only gives you experience. Experience is what past. That's all it does. The past is giving you experience.
Yeah.
Now, the experiences come in good and bad. Good experiences is something that you can feed on. Bad experiences is something anxiety feed on, fear feed on, anger feeds on. Those are bad experiences. They feed on that. They feeding you that. And when you have bad experiences, what it does, it causes your heart to pound fast. You get chitter. You're like, oh man, it's going to happen to me again. You know, that's why bad experiences, those are past. Those are not true. And you gotta recognize that. Though. You have to end those experiences. But you have to recognize experiences are part of your life. It builds you who you are today. You know, bad experience doesn't mean that it's bad. It's actually teach you life lesson. So you know, you see it that way, then you end that. You don't let them feed off that.
Yeah, they seem to be comparing people to me.
No.
Like when they, like they had something and they said, oh, maybe, it's gonna happen to me, like symptoms and stuff.
Anxiety does that. It causes you uncertainty. You start to look for answer. You start to look for what could happen to me. You start to compare experiences. But I learned this from Master Krishnamurti saying. Once you recognize everything in the past, everything ends. No two experiences are the same, ever. Someone may have similar symptom, doesn't mean they have the same experience you have. They can share you their experiences, but doesn't mean that you're going to go through the same thing. Maybe similar, but not the same thing. So that's why my research discovered what I discovered, that you recognize everything in the past, it ends. Then you look at yourself, who you are today. Look in the mirrors, look deeply who you are, not what you see in the mirror. Is who inside you. Look in the mirror, look through your eyes, look who you are. Who are you as who you, what make you who you are today. Look at that first. From there, once you recognize that who you are, you will see who you actually are. Your hand, your eye, your body, your hair. You see who you are. Because right now, okay, so everyone is not seeing who they really are. They only see what people describe who they are. It's two different things.
Say it again.
Okay. People do not see who they really are. They only see what people describe who they are. Example. Someone say, you're purple. And another person say, yeah, you're purple. Oh, you're a beautiful purple. You're a beautiful plum purple. That's what you see yourself. You actually do not look through the mirror, see yourself that you're yellow. You're not purple. That's what I'm trying to say.
So for me, I look in the mirror and I'm gonna say, I'm a person.
No, you don't say anything. You look to your mirror. You look through. Take 5 minutes. Look through the mirrors. Look through your eye. Look through you. And honestly, from inside you, clear. Don't describe who you are. Don't put a word to it. Words only what I describe. Like people tell you you're purple, but you only see yourself purple because people say they're purple. You're actually yellow. You look at yourself, right? So that's what I like. That's what I did to myself. I look at myself. I say, yeah, who I really am. Not what people tell me who I am.
So when you look at yourself, what do you say to yourself?
When I look at myself, I don't say anything. I get to look at myself honestly, looking through myself. Look in the mirror, look at my eyes, look through my eye, inside my eyes, inside me, a body inside a body, what Buddha say. There's a look inside, look the body inside the body, not the shell. That's what, when you look at yourself, find out who you are, it's find out the body inside the body. That is what is recommended to look for. But when you find that, you be amazed. When you find it, you be amazed. You see things very clear, and you see things real, like in front of you, real, instead of a facade, instead of material things. So that's a different. When you're able to see a body inside a body, you see.
So you don't
yourself.
describe yourself, say, I am strong, I am
No.
this and that.
Okay, when you put a word, when you describe yourself, it's like you're telling yourself, I'm purple. You don't see your yellow. You need to look and see who you really are. Don't describe it. That's describing it is what I say. Describing is that you're labeling yourself, and that's what you're walking around with this mask. Everybody walking with this mask. So they need to look under the mask, see who they are. And that's when it takes time. Some people very quickly, when they're aware of this method, they pick up, they see that. And you have to, it's a practice. You got to do it often, every day. Once you see it, oh man, it's a beautiful thing. It's something that I can't describe. It's very real.